Now this, you're not supposed to come in here unless you really have access, because this is where the control central is, the brains of the outfits. Here's the inner chamber. This is my producer, Rosie. Now, you often hear Rosie referenced in the course of the show, usually like, Rosie, what the hell's going on? Something like that. We've known each other since we were kids, grew up in the same neighborhood together.
Mitch, I like to refer to this area as the eye of the hurricane.
The eye of the hurricane, the eye of the storm. This is when something goes wrong, it's usually on this side. And then, so you see, now this is what they see over there, okay? They see me sitting over there, and something goes wrong. They'll see me sitting over there, and they'll see me doing all this, pantomiming and everything, and they just turn the volume down. They just, yeah. And so I'm just over there going, it's like a pantomime, and they're going. Now, your name is?
Ray.
This is Ray.
Oh, that's
Ray. Oh, you're Ray. Yeah. Oh. Now, what exactly do you do? Tell the people around the world what you do.
I play most of the sound, if not all of the sound. Not all of it, because we let Mitch and Ken have some of the sound, but I play most of the sound, commercials. I adjust levels on their microphones, bring up the phone calls, things like that. Play nasty little noises for them. Like I can have President Obama saying he's a jackass, things like that, just to kind of keep things.
President Obama says President Obama's a jackass?
No.
Oh, someone else is.
Someone else would be a jackass.
That's it? That's the sum total of what you do?
Pretty much, and I'm very well
definitely
paid
are paying him too much money. I didn't even know this until now.
And Mitch comes to me for book ideas too.
Yeah, it was originally Mondays with Maury.
I said no.
Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'll go back over to Glass. Let's see you in another 10 years. Yeah. Kevin Smith is a wonderful director of films such as Chasing Amy and Clerks and Mallrats and Dogma and Zack and Miri. He's also a very, very funny guy, very well connected on the internet, an extraordinary conversationalist. And I know all this because he and I have gotten together recently over a song I wrote for Warren Zevon a number of years back called Hit Somebody, about hockey. And Kevin is about the world's biggest hockey fan, and I live in Hockey Town, where our most famous sculpture is a fist. And I said to Kevin, if you're gonna make a movie out of that song, you need to do it in Detroit. And he said, okay, and he came to check it out, and we captured it on tape. We're here in the mecca of hockey, as far as I'm concerned, Hockey Town. And
so
Kevin
much so
Smith
that they put hockey into the name of the town.
That's right. And these banners that you see up on here are testament to the fact that we have the best hockey team in all of America, and they're actually on the ice behind us. Now, this is our wall here of, you're not going to see this in the Phoenix Arena, okay?
When you walk out here, we came onto the ice down below before we came up to sit down, and they're just basically shooting around. There's a small practice going on. It's just the most beautiful sport on the planet, even in a practice.
Conn Smythe winners, playoff MVPs, the Selke Trophy for the defensive forward. The same guys have won it several times, constantly on here. And of course, sportsmanship, we have the best. The Lady Bing.
The Lady Bing.
Always one of the great, only hockey could have the Lady Bing. I got an email from you, I think. And honestly, I didn't know. I mean, Kevin Smith, that's a common name.
It's a very common name.
And I remember getting in and I said, somebody named Kevin Smith wants to make a movie out of Hit Somebody.
He was born in Big Beaver by the borderline. He started playing hockey by the time he was 9. His dad took the hose and froze the backyard. Little buddy dreamed he was Rocket Richard.
And they came back and they said, well, he's made a lot of movies in the past. I said, really, like what? And they started rambling them off. I said, oh, Kevin Smith, yeah, I didn't know who he is. And I thought you were joking.
It really kind of started with the first film in Clerks. We had a hockey game up in the roof, street hockey. Mallrats, they were playing Sega hockey.
Right.
Chasing Amy, we have like a kind of key scene set at a hockey game. Dogma, like three of the bad dudes, little kids that came from hell, were hockey players with skates and stuff. So it's always been there, and so much so that like I was saying to somebody, I'm like, can you believe like I'm gonna do this? I'm gonna try to make a hockey movie, and they're like, well, it just makes sense, dude. You were always heading there.
You've been half making them anyhow.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
In his final season, on his final night, Buddy and a Finn seconds left, and the puck took a roll. And suddenly, Buddy had a shot on goal.
They know when a fight is coming before the game even starts, which is kind of like what I wrote in that song. Like
Right.
when I said he was pegged for a fight. I mean, they are. It's okay, you know you're going to get it over with in the first minute, you know. So the fans are standing on their seat as soon as the game starts because they know the goon from this team has to take on the guy from this team.
Rice over
Because
top
20
row.
games ago, the goon from that team hit the little star on their team and they got to pay him back.
When I discovered the song, it hit me at a time in my life where it was just the right time, and just kind of sank in, and suddenly that was all I wanted to do. I was like, this is a film. This is totally a film. Like, these guys created a perfect 3-act structure. Like, there's a movie here. This is one of those, I love story songs to begin with, and that's a total story song. And it's easily translated into you know, like a feature-length film. So I started looking into like how to get in touch with the people who might own it or whatnot, and Warren's passed on, as you know. But luckily they turned me on to you.
Brains over brawn, that might work for you. But what's a Canadian farm boy to do?
It's somebody.
What else can a farm boy from Canada do?
It's somebody.
What's a Canadian farm boy to do?
It's somebody.
What else can a farm boy from Canada do?
The genesis of that song was actually Warren, who was a good friend of mine, and he said, "Hey, Mitch, I want to do a song that's never been done before in sports." So I said, honestly, I've never heard a hockey song by
Right.
anybody. Goes, write me a hockey song. There's a guy, I don't know who he is, but he's at every game,
Right.
and whenever things get slow, he stands up and he yells, "Hit somebody!"
How you doing?
Nice to see you. You know Kevin Smith?
Hey man, how are you? Nice to
You know,
meet you.
Kevin's a director.
Yep.
Makes, you've probably seen a bunch of his films. You're a movie
Probably
guy.
not, don't worry about
Clerks,
it. I've seen you
Clerks,
play a lot, and I've played you
Mallrats.
quite often.
On PlayStation?
Yeah.
Kind of interesting to see real hockey players' height when they take their skates off. it's like girls taking high heels off. So, oh, you actually are my size.
So you're like, I could date you.
Yeah, I could actually date you. Yeah. Be careful.
Yeah. I'm good at this.
All right. You are now on holy
The ice.
ground.
I know.
You are now on holy ground. You're on Joe Louis Arena ice. You are standing on the ice where Stanley Cups have been won.
Multiples.
Where Stanley Cups have been skated around.
This is awesome, dude. I have not even been on the ice in Jersey, so thank you. This is very, very cool.
If you're going to get on ice first, I want
Might
to
as
be the
well
guy
be
to take
here.
you on
I
ice
know, I
in
know.
Detroit. And I love Jersey
Dude,
because
you
I was
used-
born there, but
it's true.
Detroit ice is better than Jersey ice.
Whoa. Strong
See?
claim.
Nice stuff here. Right?
Dude, I'm sold. I'm in. I'm shooting
right.
to Michigan. You didn't have
Okay.
to bring me on it, but I appreciate it.
Good. Because I was going to break your arm if that didn't work.
That was
you know.
next. This is the one, dude, honestly. Like, I love everything I've made and whatnot, but this one's different. Like, it's just, I can feel it. I mean, maybe it's because I reached a place in my career where I was like, you know what, I'm tired of saying things. Because, I'm very blessed. Got to write every script, got to express the heck out of myself and whatnot. Everything's kind of happened at the right time, and Hit Somebody just makes so much sense to me. And number one, the heavy work was done by you. It's laid out. You know, all I got to do is go in and flesh it out, man. It's like, a skeleton and muscle structure. All I got to do is put some skin on it.
The goalie committed, but he picked his spot. 20 years of waiting went into that shot. The fans jumped up, and the Finn jumped too. And Cole caught Buddy on his follow through. The big man crumbled, but he felt all right. 'Cause the last thing he saw was the flashing red light.
What's up, Mike? How you doing?
Don't let anyone in the
Yeah,
building.
letting
know.
anybody in here now. You know Kevin Smith,
Hi, how
the
are you?
director?
Nice to meet
Really
you.
good
How
to
are
see
you?
you.
Kevin's going to be making a movie here. Films that you've made in the past, how did you know then that it was time to make one? I mean, if you say you're not hit with that same flush of passion, so
Well, there's passion, but it's different.
Yeah.
Like with Hit Somebody, it's a combination of two passions of mine: film and hockey.
Right.
And a story that like really hits home with me at this point, where I am right now in my career. those three things together, you can't stop that movie, dude. It's a speeding puck. It's 120 miles per hour. You know, it's gonna hit the back of the twine. I promise you.
He's got all the phrases
I
down.
I know it's sad.
Then they got
Oh,
to
sorry,
get
guys.
in the ice. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey man,
Hi, Miller. How you
how
doing?
are you? Nice to meet you. Thanks. Thank you very much. Good. Sorry. You got me
You're
trapped,
stuck
dude.
now.
This is the worst
Yeah,
thing
you're
for
just
me.
gonna have to stay on the ice for the
know.
entire
I'm
practice.
gonna get hit by a puck. I know.
No, there's. So you have, this is in case you're reading the newspaper. Kevin Smith was never seen from again because he couldn't get off the ice when the practice was coming.
That was close. Well, man, I cannot thank you enough for taking me around. You know, technically it should be considered enemy territory, but it was not. You know, hockey's hockey, and it's just.
We're nicer than we look. Here, pal. Yeah.
I left it at the hotel. My bad.
Hey, I don't dress them. We'll sew one on for you.
Right before I leave.
All right.
The room was really nice, man, and I got to tell you, I've, you know, as long as I've been a Devils fan, I've been a Devils fan forever. Never once stepped on the Devils' ice, so that was cool, man. Thank you for doing that. Thanks
Great
for
having you
me.
here.
I like being here, and I hope I'm gonna spend a lot more time here in the next year. I'm gonna
hope
get
so,
sick
too.
of this place. People are gonna get sick of me being here as well.
Well, you'll look for Hit Somebody, the movie version, sometime in the near future. And it's been great getting to know Kevin a little bit better, too. See you next week. So now, just so that you know, okay.
See, I couldn't
you're
get over
sitting
this, dude.
here,
Like,
right.
this would be
You're
impossible.
sitting
Look,
here,
I'm
you're a
just-
player. Right. So you have to jump over this in skates.
In skates and all that equipment.
You know, 15, 16 times during the course of the game. You got to come back over the other direction. Just this alone is enough to disqualify most of the American population.
Totally, and it's like you get one leg over, but then you also have to land.
On skates.
If I was a hockey player, just getting over the board, I would be like, I did it, I'm done.
Yeah,
and then that would be the end of my shift, and I'd go back over. And people give him a round of applause. He did it, he got over this time.
How about that shift? Very effective. No shots, no goals.
Nothing
But
whatsoever.
he made it over the. You made it over the. There was a gentleman who had been homeless for years, who had been an addict for years, maybe in some ways reminded you of yourself, and you would feed him. Because in your early days here, you were like a one-man food bank.
Yeah.
You used to drive around with food on it. You would get what, from local organizations and
Forgotten Harvest.
food banks and stuff like that. And you put it in this big car that you had been given by your former pastor, and you just drive around the neighborhood like, you know, we think of the Good Humor Man or the Mr. Softy Man or something like that. But you were literally just feeding the poor, and you'd have fruit and vegetables and meats and juices, and you'd drive really slow.
Slow up into the Jeffrey Projects.
Yeah,
And
so it wouldn't fall off because you had it on your hood.
hood, the roof of the car.
It's like you did what you could, I guess. You had to do the room, or you make the room. And one of the gentlemen who came to know you that way, ultimately he was homeless, and he got flooded out of his apartment where he was
Cass.
living.
Yeah.
And he came to you that day when he had been flooded out because somebody stole the pipes, and he was soaking wet, and the only clothes he had were all wet. And you said to him, well, where are you going to live now?
When I asked, what are you going to do? He asked, would you let me sleep in the church? I spoke to my wife, and she agreed. So I told him, go get his belongings and come and move in with us. And
For how long?
For a year.
For a year.
Mhm. He stayed with us
Now,
for a
why
year.
did you do that? I mean, you know, you could have just said, well, there's a homeless shelter over here, there's a homeless shelter over there. But you invited him you let him in your home.
He needed more than just go to the NSO. He needed, and his family, they're very close-knit, but because of his situation, he didn't want to take that to his family.
Mm-hmm.
And we would unload the trucks when the different agencies would donate food to us, and he had a special counting skill. he would
One for you.
one for the Rev,
And two for you.
two for me,
Yeah.
one for the Rev. And I knew that, but there was something about him that I figured, wow, this guy really needs a chance. And I wanted to not just tell him I love you and I believe in you, I wanted to show him. And
Well, he says you saved his life.
yeah, he's told me that. And I'm happy to have been able to play any part in that, because now he's my most trusted elder, trustee, friend. You know, we've grown up in the ministry together.
We come out today to celebrate Mitch's new book. And in doing so, we're here to clap and rejoice. And I just like to say, remember the man on the street. Remember the sister on the street. Remember to be kind to somebody else. God bless you.